Boobies.
Hi.
And hello.
And welcome
To
Boobies.
Boobies. That's right.
Boobies.
We are your host.
I'm Joshua.
And I'm Caitlin. And this is a very, very special episode because it's our first of our regular installment of listener requests.
Da-da-da-da.
We've definitely done listener requests before.
We have.
But this is the first of our, not really surprise, but the thing we were talking about last year.
Just something that we're including this year.
Yeah, where every other week we'll cover a listener request. And so this one is from a listener named Nikki, and it's a, we got this request kind of a long time ago, and we just unfortunately haven't really been able to cover it yet. But thankfully now we have the opportunity to. And so we saved it for this specific instance, and we're really excited to do it. Yeah. What are we covering?
We are covering Urban Legend, 1998 film, director Jamie Blanks, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Urban Legend.
Jamie
Ooh.
Blanks, writer Silvio Horta.
Mm-hmm.
It has fucking Jared
It has
Leto
a lot
in it.
It honestly has a lot of people.
It does.
That I recognize. Jared Leto. We have Rebecca Gayheart. She was like in a lot of 90s things.
Yeah. She has the like perfect 90s face.
Oh yeah, for sure. Robert
90s
Englund. I mean, come on. Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
We have Loretta Devine. We have Michael Rosenbaum. We have Tara Reid. Even
Huge
Danielle Harris. I recognized her from a few things. Joshua Jackson from freaking Dawson's Creek. Even the voice of Chucky.
And Julian Richings, the janitor.
Yeah, the janitor.
Yeah, he's been in lots. He's been in Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
He was also in X-Men. I recognized him from quite a few.
Which character did he play in X-Men?
I don't really remember, but I definitely knew his face. He was in, I think, The Umbrella Academy. Yep. He was also in Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Was he?
Yep. So that's cool. He was in a lot. I recognized him probably, honestly, the most.
Really?
Yeah. Other than, obviously, Jared Leto and Brenda, which I just forgot her name right now.
Yeah.
But I recognized I think it's his nose.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gives the like token creepy guy.
Mm-hmm.
He really does.
Yeah.
And he was so perfect for this token creepy janitor role. And I loved how deadpan he was, like the boo at
The
Reese.
casting was pretty good.
It was.
For 1998, I feel like they had a lot of heavy hitters in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know Jared Leto. So
you didn't know who he was?
First off, I know who he is.
Oh, okay.
I had never heard of Urban Legends or watched it before Nikki recommended it.
Gotcha.
And so I was actually very excited to go into this. And then whenever I looked up the cast before watching it, I was like, whoa, what? And I am one of those people, I guess, who didn't know that Jared Leto had a career before 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
And The Kill.
Yeah.
And so... Because he
started in acting.
Yeah. I thought he was a musician who got
turned
into
actor,
acting.
Yeah.
No, he was an actor who got turned musician that was like, JK, I want to do acting.
He was kind of doing it all simultaneously.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Well, I will say one time, so I've seen 30 Seconds to Mars live a few times. And I think the last time that I saw them, no, they did okay. It just wasn't the most engaging performance. It was 3 Days Grace who came on after them that I was
blew
like,
it out the water.
No, I walked away. The performance was so bad.
Oh, gotcha.
Which I had seen 3 Days Grace before, and they were good. I think it was just they were like at the end of their life cycle. And then I really liked 30 Seconds to Mars like first album, but their second album just wasn't my favorite.
Did it hit for you?
Yeah, it felt a little too forced, which again makes sense for an actor turned musician who had signed on for a specific amount of albums and contracts and stuff like that. So, but it was really interesting for me to see that because I was like, oh,
It's like he got lost in a movie role for a few years there.
Yeah.
Like I was like a rock star.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to see him in this limelight because especially just with most of his recent acting, I haven't been the biggest fan of, except for in House of Gucci.
Yeah.
He was good.
He was. Oh yeah, he totally changed his entire physicality.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I had no clue that was him until afterwards, and we were like talking about it, and I was like, "What?" And I had to like Google it.
Yeah,
because I was like, "What the fuck?" That was Jared Leto.
He's pretty good. It's funny how, or not funny, but kind of really amazing how some actors can super like transform themselves completely.
Yeah, it's
immerse
wild.
themselves in a different character.
Well, and then that can be bad, like Heath Ledger. Which also played the Joker. So
that's true.
Eek.
The connections.
Yikes. But anyways, urban legend.
Urban legend. You just want to dig in there?
Yeah, we start with a nice thunderstorm.
We do.
And some creepy ahs.
And a title card off the bat. Urban legend with the rain coming in.
And our credits.
And then we have a girl driving, listening to the radio, a talk show. Yeah. Essentially.
Under the Covers with Sasha.
Exactly. And she already from the get-go, you can tell like something bad is about to happen.
Yeah. We've got a really ominous setup with the thunderstorm and,
even as soon as it was coming
late.
on, I was like, oh man, it's giving like The Conjuring almost, like with the score that was in the background at the beginning.
It felt very classic 90s film to me.
Like a, what's that? We Did It.
I Know What You Did Last summer.
Yes, there we go.
There
I was trying to think of the
moments.
acronym, but I couldn't get the letters in order.
IKWYDLS.
Yeah, there we go.
Y'all can fact check that. I don't even know what letters I just said. But there were a lot of moments in this film where I was like, this is definitely giving I Know What You Did Last Summer, especially with the hook and the hanging one. And then
I agree.
It was also giving a lot of Scream, I think, because the call was coming from within inside the house. And
there was a
things
lot
like
of
that.
Things because it's obviously, the whole movie's a play on urban legends. And
which is so cool.
Yeah, it's a really good concept.
I love urban legends. And I was talking to my mom after Final Destination because I called her on my way home from that recording. And I was talking about how I just am like so paranoid of like everything all the time. And thanks to my first encounter with the person in the back seat and the high beams situation, it was like a merger of the two with the gang light flashing. And low-key, I thought that was a real thing. So I don't know. I guess it's an urban legend.
I guess I had never heard of that before.
Oh, really?
Before,
I had.
Yeah, it's not one that I've heard.
And I didn't realize it was an urban legend. I thought it was real.
Something that had happened. Yeah, for sure.
And then
because this really also got me thinking like, wait, I thought those things happened too.
Yeah.
Like in real life somewhere.
A lot of times I'm like, oh, no, that was real. And then Wexler was like, no, it's not. But I remember the high beam story from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where it's the guy flashing his high beams behind a driver because every time that he flashes them, it's because he sees someone coming up in the back seat, like with like a knife.
I get it. Yeah, he's trying to warn them.
Yeah, he's trying to warn the driver and then to make them look in the rearview mirror. But then, of course, the person keeps like ducking. Yeah. And then this person's following him all the way home. So then the driver is like, what
Paranoid
the hell?
about
Like,
them.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he was like, someone was in your back seat, which was very much the same vibes of this first murder.
Yeah.
Because that poor,
girl.
Yeah. The guy just seemed really.
The attendant. Yeah.
It was just really. The whole setting made him look kind of creepy, I guess. And then when you're a female and alone, and like if somebody asked me to come inside for my credit card, I would freak out.
Yeah.
I understand like why she freaked out, but it was just really unfortunate with that situation.
Especially like his stutter as well. That
he
was
couldn't get
making
it out.
Things hard for them to communicate. Yeah. And that's actually Brad Dourif. He's the voice of Chucky.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And everything that's Chucky.
I know that. But moral of the story, I always check my backseat every time I get in the car. Still. Every time we leave here at nighttime, especially.
Oh, you look back there?
I either turn my flashlight on or I'm paranoid. And then like with the second one where the roommate gets killed and stuff too, I was like, whenever she left and didn't lock her door, I was like, she's gonna come back, this is gonna say your room. And I was like, this motherfucker just got in because you didn't lock your goddamn doors. Lock your fucking doors. Ooh, I'm so scared of everything.
It's weird though because I've been to I've been to campuses before, to dorms, and like usually the doors.
Actually, we did just leave our doors open.
Well, oh, really? I feel like I've been to one.
They lock automatically.
They lock. Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to like
We had
let
to prop
yourself
it
back
open.
in. Exactly.
We had to prop it open, which I did to go to the bathroom a lot. But normally someone else was in the room. Like I wouldn't do that if my roommate wasn't there. But if she was, I would be like, hey, I'm going to go to the shower real fast. Can we just prop this open? Because then, of course, you don't want to take your little key card and stuff to the bathroom and then like be locked out in your towel in the hallway because there's not really an area to dress in there. Yeah. I don't know. But
the moral of the story is lock your doors.
I'm paranoid of everything. Final Destinations made me paranoid. This is made me paranoid.
To the anxiety.
We're just paranoid.
We are. And so we have our lady friend here. Her name is Michelle, right? That's Michelle.
Yes.
She ends up needing sing Mancini.
Branzino. That's a fish.
Oh, is it? The Branzino fish?
Yeah, I only know that from Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, and Mancini, I know that last name because he, I'm trying to remember his first name. Mancini is the guy who does a lot of special effects makeup for like a lot of horror movies that we've seen.
That's cool. Of course. Okay, so as she's driving, she's listening to talk show, but then she turns on fucking Total Eclipse of the Heart, which, of course, that song is saying, turn around.
Turn like, around.
Constantly. And so the song irony. Is like telling her, turn around. Someone's behind you. And also, I fucking hate that song.
Oh, really? I know I recognize
it,
but I've never seen. I don't think I've heard it too much.
It used to play all the time at Spice. Like at first, whenever it came on, it was like a fun, like almost like a party trick. Yeah. It came on and it was like, oh, okay, fun. And then now it's like, okay, please just stop. And then I think of also there's this old YouTube series where it's like this bad lip reading almost, but basically it's just the music video, but someone's singing the song, but explaining all the weird shit that's happening like in the music video. She was like, open the door. Now there's a big flock of doves in my face.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Where did this wind come from? And it's really fucking funny. And so that's all I can think of. So I can't take that song seriously. It was definitely early YouTube, and it's still prime
YouTube.
That creator needs to be paid more. I still reference that movie the video probably, what is this, like 14 years later? Like, come on. That's
from the inception of YouTube. YouTube came out in 2006, I believe.
So longer than
16 years.
And this probably was, I was in high school. So
like 2010.
It was a few years after YouTube.
And then we have her needing some gas, so she ends up going into the gas station, and she just starts honking her horn. I guess this is back in the day when people had attendants. Yeah. Do other places have attendants still? That's pretty much gone, right?
I think it is pretty much gone.
Yeah, it's outdated. Yeah. And especially everything's like prepay or like do it yourself.
Yeah. So I've never once had someone pump my gas for me. No. Other than like a partner.
I mean, like I've seen it.
Yeah. In movies.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened back in the day. I went to Mexico one time and they did it in Mexico where they pumped the gas in the car for us. But
that's nice.
I don't know. It also just seems like, why was that ever a thing? Yeah. I guess because people could still gas back in the day. I don't know. And it had to be like overseen, like someone who worked there, like this. I don't know. But anyway, she's honking. The attendant comes out to pump gas. She gives him the credit card. As it's like pouring, so she barely cracks the window, and she's like, "Fill her up, please." And so she's just waiting there, and he's, looking at her, I think, or something, because she's just like freak town or something like that.
Yeah, she says like freak show, and I was like, "Girl, probably not a good idea to call him that." And also when he popped up, it low key scared me.
Oh, and also like the way that she was like surprised when she needed gas. I was like, how did you not know that you needed gas?
I know. We watched I put she low-key deserves to die for driving like this.
Recklessly.
Like she was digging in the backseat in a curb in the rain.
Oh yeah, and almost hit that other car.
Yeah, which I was like, girl, no. And then her singing.
Yeah.
And then whenever like we got a shot of her gas gauge going down, but also, I don't know. I like constantly look at my gas whenever I'm driving. Like I'm always like, okay, how much left?
Yeah.
I probably look at my gas more than my speedometer.
I mean, it's just to be conscious.
Yeah, because I don't want to be stranded.
Yeah.
And so then whenever her low fuel light came on, she was like, oh, and I was like,
you deserve to die.
You deserve this.
And so he's filling her up, the gas tank, and he notices something. I'm sorry. He notices something in her trunk, or not trunk, but the back seat. And so he's just like, he walks away, he goes inside, he comes back, and he tries to use the excuse of the credit card company's on the phone, and they want to speak with you. Can you please come inside? So she's already kind of like, disturbed, I guess, because it's inconveniencing her. And she also, I guess, thinks in her mind like, this guy's weird. Yeah. So she goes in with him, and he ends up locking the door, and there's nobody on the line. And so we've already mentioned he has a stutter. So before he can like get anything out, he comes up to her close because she's trying to already run out the door, and she sprays him with mace.
Yep. Yeah. Because we saw her grab that on her way out of the car, and I mean, I feel like a lot of the people who do have a stutter, it gets worse in stressful situations where you can't get what you're trying to say out. Yeah. And so, of course, he's not having any opportunity to say, like, hey,
what's going on?
Someone's in your backseat. I'm trying to save your life. Yeah. And I was so sad whenever he was like later pinned for it. Oh, yeah. And then I think, well, I don't know if they let him go. I hope they did eventually.
I'm sure.
But I was like, that poor guy, he didn't do anything. He was trying to save her life.
He was trying to warn her. And she ends up getting in the vehicle, driving off as he's like yelling in the middle of the street, there's someone in the back seat. So we know that there's someone there. She's like in a huff and like crying in the car, trying to drive really fast, get away. And that's whenever we realize that the dude or person thing that is in the back seat popping up with an axe, and as soon as she can tell from the like rear view mirror that there's someone there, she gets axed.
Her head is already rolling. Yep. And
that's when we say bye to Michelle.
That is. And then we flash to,
but also I was thinking, like, what the fuck, why are we axing away the person's head who's driving the vehicle?
I know,
that's dangerous.
Y'all would crash.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, what? And she was going really fast. But it somehow...
It's okay, movie magic.
Hollywood. So we then end up going with...
realistically, that makes zero sense.
Yeah, we end up popping up with Sasha on the talk show.
Under the covers.
And it's already... They're talking about swallowing. And spitting. And, excuse me, you guys. And how, she's basically like a sex coach on the radio show,
yeah. Ooh, it's like Call Her Daddy before Call Her Daddy.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember that there was this old lady on TV, and she would come on like late at night, and it was like Talk Sex with Dr. Sue?
No.
Do you remember? No, it was like a TV show, late night TV show, and it was this lady, and she's like in her 60s, I guess, and maybe not. I was obviously, I mean, this was a long time. I was like 10, 11. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, what's that? They're talking about sex. Yes. Yeah, no. And people would be asking all kinds of questions.
Oh, interesting.
Like calling in, and she would answer them. It was like a TV show. She would just be sitting at a couch.
That's so fun. I want to watch that.
Dr.
Sex
Sue.
with Dr. Sue.
I think that's literally what it was called.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I mean, see, everyone has,
everybody has questions.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone has questions. There's no right or wrong way to do sex. And so we all got to discuss it.
Yeah.
And talk about it. It's a natural part of life.
It's if more people talked about it, it wouldn't
be as stigmatized.
Yeah. Oh my God. The picture so you can see what she looks like.
I'm so excited.
Telling you. It's called Talk Sex with Sue Johnson.
Oh.
She was like an old lady.
She looks like your classic grandma.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
That is Mrs. Doubtfire, actually.
This is literally her. And she would just talk, and she was so calm. I remember her voice was so calm.
Hell yeah, that's going to be me.
She was chill, and she would just say, and she would talk about like literally anything.
I'm going to change my name to Sue Johnson, so that way when I'm old, this is the only way I want to exist past like 50. I keep moving my time up. I said 40 for the longest time, but I guess I can live till 50.
Yeah.
I won't even be that old. My skin's too good.
Like I love this picture in particular. Like she just seems like that, like grandma you never had that you always wanted. But yeah, so anyways, that's what Under the Covers with Sasha is. And so
I love it.
We're, just having this little funny moment. She's talking to a girl who's essentially fucked her friend over because she's like, I've been stealing my friend's birth control and now she's pregnant, but now I need a new roommate. And so
that was ridiculous. I was like, girl, you have like fucked someone's life up.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't handle your own shit to get, she was like, baby aspirin looks the exact same. Like, girl, fill your own goddamn prescription.
That seems like illegal.
Also, your friend maybe needs to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah. And so we then transitioned to kind of like a Friends setting, like the Friends TV show, like Central Perk, where they're on the couch and they're all kind of
we're in the
chatting.
dining hall.
And they're talking about this crazy professor that was at their school 25 years ago that went crazy and killed some students, I think, or something like that.
Kills like a whole floor. He was the abnormal psych professor. And then he went to, something hall, Stanley Hall, I think
it was something like that.
And went and basically knocked on each door, and every person who answered, he slit their throats.
Yeah.
And so basically it was just this massive massacre. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he killed a whole like floor of kids. And then now we're finding out that Omega Sigma Phi is holding its annual
like
Stanley Hall
party.
Bash.
Like in remembrance
to commemorate a massacre. Yeah.
Which even Brenda's like, so now you just throw a party.
Yeah.
And so
and Jared
Leto.
Yeah. Sorry,
his character's name is Paul.
Paul came in, and we see that he's kind of the weirdo character. Like, he just kind of knows everything. And obviously Parker is our like frat boy, cool type.
Rich boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's hosting this Omega Sigma Phi. So.
And he's also the one who's saying, I believe he's saying it was all covered up because essentially the school didn't want a bad rep, because then people wouldn't enroll their children into the school. And so we can tell that Brenda likes Paul. It's getting set up because Brenda keeps staring at Paul in a way that girls who like boys stare at boys. And then we have Brenda and Natalie walking home, and they're talking about the Bloody Mary stuff, something, because they're about to walk by that hall or something where the massacre happens.
And they were gonna go there and play Bloody Mary, but
which I thought you did that in a mirror.
It was in a mirror in a bathroom, and it's 3 times.
Yeah,
not 5.
And they're
in a random hallway.
Yeah, and anyways, they're just saying Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Yeah, and they start hearing screaming, but then it's Damon coming up, and he's playing a prank on them.
Yeah. And he's just kind of our token funny character asshole.
Actually, you know what? He might be the rich boy. They're all rich, I guess.
Yeah,
because the school they go to seems pretty
yuppie.
private
Pendleton
school. Yeah,
right.
Private school. And so, or at least they come from money, And so, and that character Damon is played by Joshua Jackson, who's from the show Dawson's Creek.
Oh yeah.
There we go. And so we have.
I only watched like.
I've never seen it, but I know that he's in it.
I know. I definitely know the name. I think I've like watched episodes at like people's house, and it was on, and I was like, I could not tell you a single thing about that show.
That's the show that gave us.
Same with that Pretty Little Liars.
I feel like someone really popular was in that. Maybe not.
No,
there's not really Katie Holmes, but I guess she's not like super popular.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I feel like Katie Holmes, that's a household name.
Yeah,
everybody knows Katie Holmes. She was married to Tom Cruise.
That's right.
Yep. And everybody fucking knows Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. Good. Is he still a Scientologist? I think he's like the president by now.
That's bizarre. I remember I walked past the Scientology like clinic thing in LA once. Not clinic, I guess they're like temple. And they were like,
it's a cult.
Yeah, they were trying to get us to come in. Like they were on the street trying to get people to come in the doors. And I was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm just trying to find food. And they were like, this is food for your soul. And I was like, no, I want real food, not this shit. And then walked off.
Is it vegan?
Is it vegan?
Also, yeah, no. The Church of Scientology is going to sue us for slander.
Good.
And so we have the girls getting scared, freaked out, anyways, by Damon. But anyways, he ends up leaving. They end up saying their goodbyes because they're going to their. I guess they live in separate dormitories, and so
because Natalie is going to her respective dorm, and this is where we get token weird janitor guy.
Yep, she almost bumps into him.
Yeah, and she walks in on her roommate having sex, which is just. I was like, they are not. Oh my God.
No.
She was like,
yes, which is really awkward. Yeah. And also, too, it feels like.
You, go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm, the roommate is being very insensitive to Natalie.
She was a fucking bitch.
She was. She was on. What is lithium? Is that an old party drug or something?
I think so. Like, I've definitely have heard, like, I don't know, goth punk songs about it. I feel like there's an Evanescence song that mentions lithium. And or isn't there a band called Lithium?
I think so.
I think there is a band called Lithium. I don't know anything, you guys. But this girl's on lithium. She's taking lithium. And I think is it a drug for manic depressive?
Yeah, it's for bipolar disorder, and it's like for some major depressive disorders.
Yet again, she was a manic depressive. And I was like, okay, y'all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's like, I knew. She painted half her room black. Yeah. I'm like, okay, because that's the calling card for people
My
with
room
manic
is
depression.
not black and I am.
Yeah, I guess it's a type of prescription treated to help treat like mania, hypomania, other like severe depressive disorders and stuff like that. That's all I'm getting. But it doesn't seem like, I feel like the way they were talking about it,
it felt more recreational.
Like, yeah, than this.
Which I guess like
or maybe
Adderall.
They're just bonding on being or having.
Or maybe if you don't actually have those symptoms and it just gives you like Adderall does for some people.
I've never taken Adderall, so I don't know what it does.
Yeah, it makes me be able to go.
Like you're super focused, aren't you? That's what I heard. Like people use it to stay up and study, don't they?
Yeah. And I can actually focus.
Isn't that what's her name took in Saved by the Bell? I'm so excited. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Do you know?
No. When I think Jessie, of Adderall, I think
takes all these
Charlie Bartlett.
They're like caffeine. No, they're caffeine pills. That's what it is. They're caffeine pills, and she like starts getting addicted to them. It's like a whole like I think 2-part episode
caffeine
series.
Is a drug.
And so
says me as on you're my
drinking,
third cup of
I'm
coffee.
like as you're drinking coffee, and so we have then the all that happening with the roommate. She turns off the lights and just kind of ignores it. So
she puts
obviously,
on her little headphones and they're like not even just like you know, because I feel like, I mean, I never would do this, but I feel like I've heard of people like, you know, kind of like that my boyfriend's gonna stay over and then you like kind of like quietly fuck. But they were like, they were hardcore fucking.
Oh yeah,
they were having sex.
Yeah, like it looks like she's into some freaky shit.
It was so loud. She was like screaming, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Which does come into play later.
It does.
So I guess it all adds up to the movie, but yeah, I feel like this is not. Yeah,
it's not your typical roommate situation, and hopefully no one would ever act like this because
I feel like people do though.
Yeah, I could never. No.
Yeah, no, that's
I couldn't weird. Like openly have sex knowing that my roommate was right there. I mean, unless it if it was like a secretive thing, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I guess.
But just to like openly be like, God, yes, like.
Oh no. Yeah. Like
that's a little much.
You definitely have to be quiet
because there's a certain like kink from getting off like in front or near other, like with that suspicion that someone could catch you.
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
Yeah.
But just like having sex in front of another person that's just your roommate. Like, I mean, if it was like a, you know, a third party watching for,
yeah.
That's different.
I get what you mean.
But
some people are into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like your poor,
because it's just
roommate.
Poor, like, that's poor roommate etiquette, you know?
Like,
or like,
rude.
I mean, even like there is no sock on the door. There was no like warning. There was no like, I guess
hey,
back then you
couldn't text.
You couldn't text, but maybe they had pagers. I don't know. I feel like they were rich kids. I don't know. But
she could have at least put something on the door like, hey, maybe come back in 15 or something.
Or tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
I've got someone over.
But anyways, Toph doesn't care. Toph, Tosh, Topher. Yeah, I'm like, what a name. Anyways, and so she ends up just sleeping through it. And the next day we were in class.
Yep, with Dr. Wexler.
Dr. Wexler, who's played by Freddy Krueger.
And we have, basically he's explaining urban legends. We got The Call Is Coming From Inside the House. Your favorite.
It's always coming from inside the house.
Yep.
And then we have what else does he talk about? The pop rock one?
Yeah.
Because he calls up Brenda after she makes some sort of little smart aleck remark to the lesson.
He says, he says, what is the cultural admonition of this? And he says, young women, mind your children or harm will come your way. And then Brenda says, isn't the cultural admonition don't babysit? And I was like, honestly, because of all this shit growing up, like I never wanted to babysit. Like after Halloween and Scream and stuff like that, babysitting never once came to my mind as a job.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That seemed fucking weird. I was like, no.
That's a lot of responsibility.
I also babysit my younger brothers all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need
to babysit. So why would you
want to
do that? Yeah. No, that doesn't seem like fun work. It's not worth the money to me.
And they always die. So
in the movies.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So I was like, honestly, Brenda's got a point. But he calls her up to eat those Pop Rocks and soda.
He wants her to drink Pepsi after she's ate the Pop Rocks, and she's very reluctant to because she's heard the urban legend of like if she eats that and drinks the Pepsi, it's gonna like make her stomach blow up.
And she was like, he was like, name one instance where this has happened. She said, Mikey, the kid who would eat anything. Yeah. And he was like, what if I told you this was Mikey and he's an ad exec working in NYC, basically. And I was like, what a weird lie, like urban legend for people to spread, like of this child dying.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is. But
okay. I feel like a lot of things are created to scare children, like the boogeyman, to be good. Or exactly. Be good or else you're going to die.
And honestly, Santa Claus.
Or be
good or you're not going to get any fucking presents.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, Santa Claus is a watered down version of Krampus. He's a Coca-Cola Santa.
He is.
Yeah.
And you need to see Violent Night.
Oh, yeah?
It was really good.
What is that on?
It's me and Robert watched on Christmas. It's not actually streaming already.
Okay.
But you have to pay for it to rent it early. But it was worth it.
What was it on?
It's just like Prime, I think.
Prime. Yeah. Violent Night.
I've
heard of it.
It was really good.
I'm excited.
It was a really good movie.
Oh, Violent Night. The stars are brightly bleeding.
Yeah. It was like Santa mixed with like action, mixed with like
Santa
like
action.
A wholesome family storyline as well.
Aww.
Yeah, it gave you everything. It was really good.
I love that.
I would rewatch it. And so
next year we'll cover that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And so it comes out in July. And so
we'll cover it for holiday season.
So we have where was I at? The Pepsi? The box?
But basically she's like, I don't want to do it. Yeah, Damon comes up and he, of course is just like let me eat all this. And then of course he's a fucking prankster asshole. So he's
pretending that he's having a reaction.
And I love that Wexler was not even remotely affected.
Knew. Yeah.
He was just like, okay, fuck you. Which is fun. Like, honestly, that's how I am when a lot of my like students act hurt because they get hurt, quote unquote, so easily and they get so dramatic. And I'm just like, y'all, come on. Like, unless you were bleeding or a bone is sticking out, like,
get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your nail has been like ripped off. Like, but even then, like, I always spin in like, my fucking talons. Yeah. And my nails almost get ripped off. And then I just go,
it's okay.
And then I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I just go, oh, that hurt. But I don't know. So he was just completely unaffected. And he was like, okay.
Oh yeah. Well, because he knew the truth. And so he was just like, this is dumb.
And Damon really committed to the act. Like that Pepsi got in like his eyeball.
He was like
whenever
squirting
he was
it all out.
Yeah.
All the Pop Rocks. And like, it wasn't even like Pepsi color anymore. It was like green.
Yeah. For half a second, I was like, wait, is he dying? Because he was actually being pretty convincing.
And we never know. It could have been like not the Pop Rocks, but maybe he could have been poisoned or something at that point. There was something in the Pepsi. I don't know. He is still our second victim, though.
He is.
So he doesn't die now, but he does die soon.
He is going to die soon.
And after this whole ordeal that happens in class, that's whenever we go out and everybody's found out now about Miss Michelle's death and her murder. Not murder investigation because they're trying to write it off, but that she was killed. And because of the paper
headline that says like killer, psycho killer loose on campus or something very sensational
from Paul's newspaper,
making them. And Paul's a fucking sassy asshole.
Yeah,
I kind of love like the lines he delivers here.
Yeah,
and
with the dean and the Reese,
and he was like, you can't just take all my papers. And I was like, well, they are the police. And then she said like, I'll keep this campus safe. And I was like, oh, not real police.
Yeah,
campus police.
Campus police. Okay,
yeah, but.
One at that.
Yeah.
Literally one.
For the entire campus.
Literally.
I'm like, is this campus 3 buildings? 2 of which are apparently dorms?
Yeah. They only had the budget for Loretta Devine. She was a big name.
She was.
And so we have the news talking about the murder now. and how Michelle was killed, and but I believe that they're printing it on the attendant already at this point. Yeah.
We see like the kind of news segment going on, and they show the attendant's face, and they're saying like, this is the last person to have seen her alive, kind of thing, and we're trying to capture him, and they're basically blaming it on him.
Hey there, homeowners. Is it time to give your yard a complete makeover this summer? Villani Landshapers, a local family-owned business, has been transforming landscapes for more than 20 years. Villani Landshapers specializes in landscape design build, retaining walls, outdoor living spaces, and so much more. Request your free consultation today and check out their gallery of residential work at villani-landshapers.com.
From the host of the popular podcast, The Only One in the Room, Stash by Laura Cathcart-Robbins is a propulsive and vivid memoir about the journey to sobriety and self-love amidst addiction, privilege, racism, and self-sabotage. Best-selling author Holly Whitaker calls it an irresistibly delicious story, and MacArthur Foundation fellow and best-selling author Kiese Lehman says Stash is emotionally riveting. Buy Stash by Laura Cathcart-Robbins now, wherever books are sold.
Okay, so basically, they're sitting there. We've seen the news segment. They're putting all the blame on the gas station attendant. And then we're back in our friend setting.
Yes.
We're sitting there all talking around.
About the murder.
And everyone being like, did you know her? She lived in Daly and Hall or something.
And I love how Sasha was even like, I even heard that she was listening to my radio. Someone told me she was listening to I'm like, how would you know? How would anybody know that?
Yeah. And they were like,
it's probably Brenda.
She was like, it's my last. It probably was, honestly. Yeah.
Anyways, but
fucking Damon
I
thought it was actually a really funny joke. It was poor taste.
When he
said, I did know her. She actually gave great head because her head got chopped off.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
I laughed.
Heads will roll. And that's whenever we do have, I guess we come over to the roommate, to Tosh again, don't we? She's on, what is it called back in the IM or some type of messaging thing, and she's talking to some people online.
But it was like a goth chat.
Right, yeah. And then we have Natalie coming in because she's and so when we were sitting with the friends, Natalie kind of seemed out of it, but whenever they asked her, like, did you know her? And she was like, no, I didn't know her. But then we have her coming into her room. She's like, I need to use the phone. And then that's whenever Tosh like goes off and she's like, it's my line too. I'm like, bitch, and you on it.
Been in the room, so let your roommate. Who know? You could have been on that fucking computer for the last like 3 hours.
Yeah,
no
literally.
one knows.
But with her horny ass, all she wants to do is just like fuck people. And so
she pissed me off so much.
She ends up leaving.
I would have punched her.
I would have asked for like a change request of like
1000%.
move me out of this room, But anyways, she ends up calling her, or listening to her voicemails, and her mom is like saying, "Isn't it sad what happened to Michelle? I can't believe it would happen." So we're already getting she knew her. And then we have her picking up an old yearbook from high school, and she was actually very close and best friends with Michelle back in high school before they ended up coming to college.
They were cheer captains together, which, if you're captains with somebody and you're on a team,
you spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah, you're really close knit. That is your closest group of people.
That's your sister.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you will probably immediately lose contact afterwards. I mean,
they
still went to the same place though.
Yeah, the college, but still.
Of course they had a falling out that we later find out about. But it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm like, she knew Michelle. And so that's whenever we do have
Damon showing up.
He wants to be sweet,
they
quote
were gonna
unquote.
Go pierce the poor dog's nose. This poor dog.
Oh, later on.
This dog really got the like
Hoagie?
Short and Hootie. Hoagie. That's a great name for a dog.
That's a great dog. Hoagie.
And it better be.
This is like Hootie. Maybe he was named after Hootie and the Blowfish.
That's what I thought. Because whenever they got to the party later and they were chanting Hootie, Hootie, I was like,
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Is that Hootie and the Blowfish playing? I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
they were demanding
Hootie
and the Blowfish.
Yeah.
And so we do have Damon then telling her, well, guess, if you need someone to listen to, or to someone to listen to you, I can be that guy. And so they end up, he ends up convincing her to go on a ride with him. They go to like this little,
and we see his car's remarkably difficult to start.
Yeah, it's a jalopy. Yeah,
I feel like my car, my last car actually before my Prius, I had to drive with 2 feet because every time I got to a stoplight or a stop sign, if I didn't also simultaneously have my foot on the gas, my car would die.
Oh, really?
It would like stop.
No wonder you have anxiety driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems stressful.
It was.
I have to like constantly be like focused on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get used to driving with 1 foot again.
That is crazy.
Because I was so used to like having to press on the brake, but also like rev my engine. It's not safe. Don't.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
No, you're not.
Okay.
But it was better than my car being dead and not potentially starting again at a light. So, because I did have that happen once.
I'm glad you got your new car.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
It took the tires coming off of that car while going 80.
Like your car was just dead there and everybody was like, honk, honk, honk. Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah. Aww. And I was like, I can't do anything. I'm stuck. It's so terrible.
Yeah.
Anyways. I feel like everyone in college has that shit car.
We all had a shit car at one point.
That unfortunately was my third car. My college car, though, was also shit.
Yeah.
The transmission
shout out
was
to your
like
shout out to the shit cars.
Yeah.
And shout out to your good car.
Unless you're a rich person. But yeah. I was not.
And so we do have him turning on his car finally, and as soon as he does, the radio comes on and it's this it's the theme song from Dawson's Creek.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's the theme song.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it was
so funny.
A little funny moment for it. And so
I love that song.
At this point, it's a funny. It's like a good song. Everybody knows that song.
I will fucking jam to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love that song.
I try to remember. Oh, do right. That's what that song is.
What?
That song. I don't want to wait.
Oh. It says do.
Yeah, because it's like the melody. There's like da 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 do. That's a part of the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, I only know the chorus.
And so that's whenever we do have him taking her, like I said, to this like little tree park, I don't know, kind of location. Probably
it looks sketchy as fuck.
Probably where all the kids go to kiss or whatever.
Yeah, it looks like a place where you get murdered.
Mm-hmm. And so they're up there. He tries to make a move on her after she's like. He gives her this like sob story of his ex-girlfriend dying. I don't even think she really did.
No, she definitely didn't.
No,
he said she had a syndrome.
Yeah.
And he said she had a sickness and then she had a syndrome. I was like, down with the sickness?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah. And so she already called his bluff and she's just like, please take me home. She ends up punching him because he's really insistent. And then when he's like still trying to put the moves on her, she's like, do you want 1 or 2 black eyes?
Yeah.
So she's pretty,
because he was
Natalie's pretty
fucking
firm.
Asshole. Mm-hmm. He was like, I was just trying to comfort you. No need for you to be a bitch. And it was like,
no, you weren't. You were trying to get under pants.
Fuck you. You were being creepy as fuck and preying on her.
He was a skis.
Emotional state. Like, ew. Yeah.
And so that's whenever we do have him saying, okay, well, I got to go take a piss.
I can't.
About people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
no.
Mm-hmm. And so he deserves to die too.
Yep.
He ends up going to
go pee. My note says, hope he dies right now.
And you do get your wish, because he leaves as like he's standing there peeing. He ends up getting like caught, almost lassoed essentially with a rope, and it's like pulled around his neck.
Did you hear? Was it like a bird cawing, or what was that? Wasn't there a weird screaming sound happening?
I don't think. I don't know. Maybe
like, I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be a bird or if it was like someone weird screaming. I don't know. Or if maybe it was just a sound happening outside my house. I don't know.
I don't remember hearing a bird, so that's I don't know.
Yeah, because it didn't normally. Most of the time, if we all know I watch everything with closed captioning, and so normally it'll be like birds chirping or something.
Bird sound, yeah. But it didn't.
And
pop
it
up.
Didn't say that. So oh god, I hope someone wasn't getting murdered outside my house.
Was it a scream or was it just a bird?
No, it sounded. I thought it sounded like a human trying to be a bird.
Maybe it was Brenda.
Yeah,
being
I feel
crazy,
like maybe it was, and she was just going ah.
Well, like, spoiler alert.
Okay, speaking of, how quickly did you catch on that it was her? After the swim scene, I started being like, I feel like it's Brenda. And then especially after she kissed Paul, I was like, it's Brenda. And then with
it gives
this wave,
Brenda more motive.
Because I was like, Paul is our red herring.
Yeah,
you want to believe that it's him
because that's what the movie wants you to think.
Yeah,
but
at one point I even thought it was Parker.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, because I was thinking of Scream 2.
Yeah,
where I wanted it to be the boyfriend.
Oh, that's right.
And he gave me very similar vibes to that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know when because this is not my first time watching it. But I'm trying to remember back then. I don't think that I ever really kind of caught on that it was Brenda. Just because she made it seem so much so like she wasn't a killer. She was kind of...
Whenever she showed up as Paul and Natalie were trying to run away, I was like, really suspicious that she's showing up now.
At that point too, though, you know what?
But then once we found the dead body in Paul's trunk, I was like, ooh,
because
maybe
there's still things
Paul.
happening. Because at that point too, whenever they do meet up, it is suspicious. Like, why is she here now? And then also too, she was just mad at at her. So why would she then come to them and be like friendly? Yeah. You know, I don't know.
I guess though, if I saw my friend dead, I would maybe forgive something as insignificant as my friend kissing another man.
I don't know.
I would be like, okay, let's just get out of here alive, and then I'll yell at you for kissing the guy later.
I don't know. we end up then. Now I'm back at that.
I thought it was going to be the hook scene.
Yeah. So he ends up getting, lassoed, whatever, pulled away. We then have Natalie back in the car, and she's like, where is Damon? So she's like kind of calling out for him because she gets out of the car. But when she does that, we do have the killer popping up in this hoodie that we're going to see the whole time, like a fur.
Fuzzy parka.
With boots with the fur.
It gave very Hollister Abercrombie.
Yeah. Or like them baby fat jackets from back, like a puffer jacket, but with like fur on the hood.
The fur lined. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have them popping up, scaring the crap out of Natalie. She gets back in the car. She's trying to lock it.
Because originally it was supposed to be, all of this was supposed to be filmed in the winter. And then, but then the weather was like actually too warm. And so that was a costume they had already picked out. But then during filming, the weather was too warm for it.
Yeah.
And there was no snow and stuff like that. But they were like, well,
we're just going to go with it.
We're just going to keep this costume, and then we'll just ditch the winter idea. But we'll keep the costume.
Know that. Yeah.
Yeah. I read that on
like a fun fact
IMDb.
Thing? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. Because I was just thinking, like, why are they wearing this like thick ass coat?
Yeah.
With like fur. And then I would have to imagine like a ski mask as well.
Underneath it to actually disguise the face.
For everything to be so... like it looked like pitch black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was also at nighttime. And so we have her getting attacked essentially by the whatchamacallit? The killer. They jump on the hood though. And that's when you think it's the killer on the hood, which they are kind of on the back of the hood, but it's also somehow elaborate and like I don't know how, and stringing someone up.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how they got Damon up there, especially after like thinking back now with it being Brenda.
He is a big guy.
He was.
She is not.
She was like tiny. Her body was
petite.
snatched.
She's a petite girl. Like she doesn't have like big strong arms. Like it looks like.
SMOL.
I mean, she's small. A swimmer, but swimmers' bodies are cut. They're not strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she ends up Brenda ends up getting him like strung up above the vehicle. His feet are like
end of the rope to the trailer hitch.
Yeah.
So that way, whenever the car starts, it will sufficiently like successfully hang him.
And he's even saying like, Natalie, please don't start the car, but she can't hear him because he's obviously getting strangled by the rope around his neck. And she starts it and drives off. And he ends up getting like strung up. Sorry, I'm yawning so much.
He
gets strung up.
Like basically the car stops because, well, it's connected to this body strung around a tree.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining that force of when the car like snapped to its stop is what probably successfully like killed him.
Yeah, for sure.
And then she has to back up because she's like, what the hell's going on? And then unfortunately, whenever she does this, we get
the body landing on top of the car and through the window.
Coming through the window, which honestly was really fucking cool.
I liked that
a lot. Yeah, I thought it was really good. But super poor Natalie. That's fucking tragic.
Really terrible for her.
And then, of course, no one believes her.
Yeah.
Because Damon is a ultimate trickster, and he's supposedly gone on a snowboarding trip.
He was supposed to be going on a weekend trip. So nobody, it's kind of all aligned perfectly.
And I guess she walked all the way back to Reese.
To the campus,
because she was like, I can't walk or like take this car.
You can't take the car, no.
And
she left it there.
The killer had completely cleaned up the scene.
Which is so much. Like how?
I know,
how do you get a car out of there?
Because all the glass was broken. Like the entire windshield was shattered.
It was.
That had to have been a lot of glass. That
Where do
was
you put it? Where do you
it's not like she's sweeping the forest floor.
Right.
There was leaves on the ground.
There should have been like pieces of it there.
Yeah. They found the Pepsi can.
It wasn't even Pepsi. I thought it was alcohol.
It was beer.
Okay. Yeah. It was beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just saw blue. And from the Pepsi earlier, I assumed Pepsi.
No, it was beer. It was beer. And so that's because I think Reese was even like, because, she's asking
trying
her
to
like,
get her drunk.
And Reese, whenever they're up there, is asking her like, what are you on? Like, and she obviously thinks they're just drunk or something, like
playing
making
a trick
up stories. Yes. And so essentially all that happens. Nobody believes Natalie because she's even telling her friends the next day, like, Damon is dead.
Damon's dead, and it was like...
And everybody's telling her, even Parker, he's just like, he's a prankster. He's going to call you at some point and be like, ha, 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And basically, this is where she starts putting two and two together, that these people are dying in ways of
urban legends. Yeah.
Like the axe murderer in the back seat. The, now the hanging boyfriend or... kind of boyfriend on top of the car and hearing the scratching sound and stuff like that. And of course they're all like, hoo, 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 hoo.
They're laughing at it.
They don't
and
they're not believing her.
Seriously. Yeah.
And I was like, y'all, also, I know we've talked about this in a lot of films that we've covered, but these friends they're
shitty?
fucking assholes.
Oh yeah.
They're so unsupportive of her.
I feel like that's how friends in horror movies usually are.
I know.
But yeah, no.
I was sitting there thinking like, if I came to y'all with thinking this was happening, y'all would be like, oh my God, yeah. Maybe. Y'all would 1000% support me.
Really like posh. I feel like, snooty patooty kids. So.
And then all the time they're just like, calm down.
Yeah.
And like, I was just so thankful for y'all. Because y'all would never tell me calm down.
Calm down.
No one better fucking tell me calm down. That's my least favorite sentence in the goddamn world. That would be a really
exciting day though. Like people, never mind. No.
I know there was a moment in here where I think it was Paul and Natalie are talking later, and he was like, "So you're telling me there's a serial killer who like is recreating urban legends?" And I was like, "Low-key, that'd be
That's really cool."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, "Can I legally write that?" I don't know. I had to like retract my sentence.
Like you felt bad saying that out loud or thinking it.
Because then I was like, oh, it feels like I'm like idolizing murder, but like,
which we're not.
No.
But that is a cool concept.
It's a great concept for a film. Which is what we're covering. It's not real life.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully no one will make it real life.
Well, because in speaking in terms of this movie, like right now with real life, like what happened to those kids in Moscow, Idaho or whatever.
Moscow, Idaho?
Yeah. It's here in the U.S. The 4 kids that got slain a month ago in November. Do you not know about this?
Maybe not.
In college campus? Really? It's like they just caught the killer.
Oh, shit.
He was in Pennsylvania, states away.
Where have I been?
I don't know. Yeah, these 4 kids got like brutally murdered.
Oh, no.
Like 22, 21, a 20-year-old, another 22-year-old in their house. Middle of the night after coming home from like a night of partying, seemed like targeted. We couldn't find the killer for a while, but they just found the guy and he's like on trial right now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
was
it? He's
like
still pleading I think he's still pleading not guilty.
Oh.
But they linked him because they found DNA at the crime scene.
Forensic files.
But he wasn't in the system. He actually goes to the school. He's 28 years old. He is getting his master's. So he's like a student teacher kind of thing.
Oh.
So
they didn't turn in their homework on time.
Right.
I'm sorry. That was a really bad joke.
They found him through the 23andMe thing.
Oh. Man, I fucking love 23andMe.
His shit was in that database. And so
solving all of these crimes, Golden State Killer. That's awesome.
And so
I'm glad that they were able to bring justice to these
poor kids. I know they had the rest of their lives ahead of them.
Yeah, it always is very unfortunate when a young person loses their life, especially in such a violent manner.
Yeah. No, they were they were brutally killed. They were like sliced and diced.
Oh, you'll have to send me a link about this. Or I'll Google it. if you remember Simuling, because I'm going to forget.
Okay, I will. Yeah. But I just I was watching this meme and I was like, oh man, this is kind of because this is a campus killings and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, it's like life imitates art, art imitates life.
Yeah, which again gives very Scream.
Yeah,
Scream,
sure does.
Scream's so good.
So excited for the new Scream coming out.
Yeah.
In March, I think. I think it's March. I don't know. It's coming up soon. Yeah. But we do have Miss Natalie calling the hotel or wherever Damon is supposed to be staying at.
Because apparently he's on a snowboarding frat trip, or no, a high school buddy trip.
Yeah, a reunion.
And they're like, we can't give you this information. Of course, she couldn't use her own phone because Tosh was on the fucking IM.
Mm-hmm. And so she gets no confirmation that Damon is where he's supposed to be. She ends up going to the library, and the library, as in any scary movie, anytime there's a library, there's always some spooky shit going on.
Yeah.
There's always someone running in between aisles. It
was pretty funny because also, I'm sorry, it was midday.
Why is it so dark in there?
It was very dark in there. And then also she was hearing the sounds and she was like, hello. And I was like, bitch, this is a library.
There should be
in the middle of the day. There's going to be people in here. And so I was like, come on. And of course she just finds this very convenient encyclopedia of urban legends.
That's what I wrote too. I was like, oh my gosh, that's convenient. Hilarious.
And
it has all the ones that they're talking about.
The UL was so bad.
Yeah.
But yes, and the aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light one? That one is one that scared me a lot as a kid. And then it reminds me of the Humans Can Lick 2 one. Do you remember that one?
I don't know these.
Ooh. So, okay, the Humans Can Lick 2 one is the one that probably sticks with me the most. And it's about this girl who goes to bed, basically, and hears some sounds in her house and is like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And, okay, my retelling of this might not be spot on. Again, it's like a game of telephone. All urban legends are. But she is just like, oh, it's probably just my dog. And then is reassured whenever her hand's hanging over the bed, which is don't ever hang your fucking hand over the bed. But she feels her dog licking her hand.
Oh, but it's not her dog.
And so she's like, oh, it's just my dog. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go back to bed. And then the next morning wakes up to find her dog brutally murdered, massacred. And it says in the blood, it says humans can lick too. Oh. So whoever was in the house was just licking her hand. Yeah.
Man.
Isn't that the most
That's creepy.
And also, okay, I'm sorry, there's a big difference between a human tongue and a dog tongue.
Oh, I'm
massive.
Their textures are different.
Dog tongues are so soft. Human tongues have some ridges, and then cat tongues are fucking sandpaper.
Oh, they are? I don't ever have a cat
Oh my goodness. Come over. The kitties love to give kisses. They give me literally my lips are always so over exfoliated
raw,
because at nighttime when I'm sleeping they love to give me kisses because I ever since they were little I was little kisses, and so whenever it's bedtime and they're trying to get comfortable they have to lick my face to go to bed, and it's very sweet, but also
you're getting exfoliated
when you wake up too. And then they also, I think they like all of my piercings in my nose, so they lick up my nose.
Caitlin, I didn't know that these cats are doing this to you
every night.
You're getting sexually assaulted by your kittens.
I am. They're always
oh my god,
meow meow meow, and I'm like, please stop doing. I'm like, I love you.
I'm trying to sleep,
but I'm trying to go to bed.
And you wouldn't fight them off.
No. I just always try to really aggressively rub my face on their face.
It's just so a cat lady.
And one time I was sleeping without a shirt on, and Kitty
was looking your nipple.
She just, I think, I feel like it was an intrusive thought in her head where she was like, what if I lick this right now? Because she had never done it before, and I'd slept without a shirt on before. But she just one time randomly was like,
oh my god,
it hurt so bad.
On your nipple.
It was like sandpaper on my nipple. It hurt really bad. And I was like, wow, never do that again. And she was like, okay, got it.
She learned. That's crazy.
She was so smart.
Aw, little kitty. R.I.P.
Anyways, yeah, R.I.P. She's the best. But anyway, so her and Natalie Sasha.
Yeah,
she bumps into
Sasha.
That's right. Sasha, I guess, was one of the many people probably lurking around in this library in the middle of the fucking day.
Trying to just do her homework. And that's whenever she's asking Natalie what's up with her. And Natalie ends up showing her that she's looking at the Urban Legends book. And even Sasha's just like, come on, Natalie, none of that's real. Why are you even entertaining this idea, essentially? But they do end up looking through the book. They're sitting at a desk. And that's whenever we see the high beam game pop up.
Yeah, the gang high beam initiation. I thought I had definitely heard that one. I've been scared to flash flashed my high beams at someone before because I was like, oh God, what if it is a gang initiation? And then
I do it all the time.
Yeah, I do.
To like alert people to go first, or like at stop signs, I guess.
Or like if their lights aren't on.
I don't think I've ever seen someone drive without any lights.
Oh, I have.
I've been the person who drives without the lights on and people flash me.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times, like it was like whenever I was in a parking lot or something at first, and it's very well lit. Yeah, and so I can just see perfectly fine. Yeah. And then it's like whenever I turn onto the highway, and then I'm like, oh, right.
The lights weren't on.
Yeah. Then someone flashes me.
Thankfully, I have auto lights now, so they come on.
My car does not, and so every time Andrew drives it, he's like,
"Are your lights on?
What the fuck? Why aren't your lights on?" And I'm like,
"You have to turn them on."
This is a 2013.
All my cars before this one I'd have to turn them on too. So
yeah.
But yeah, we end up having them looking at that, and even Natalie's explaining to Sasha like what the high beam game kind of is, and we can kind of tell already that there's she's has experience with it or something. Like she's triggered by it. She
seems very like she does. Yeah, it seems very familiar to her.
Yeah.
And then of course she's checking out the library card, and Damon was the last person to check this book out.
I don't think he was. I think that was totally set up. Yeah. I think that was totally to set him up.
Writ is not a word.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And take red herring.
It also was very nice handwriting.
Yeah, it was very pretty.
I don't mean to stereotype, but
I don't think Damon would write like that.
Yeah. Damon did not give that he practiced his penmanship. So.
And also, who still fucking writes on those slips? I don't
think those are used as much anymore. I think it's all digital.
But I guess it was 98. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because I was like, I definitely, bless you, wrote on library slips all the way through college. Whenever whenever I mean, it was also done digitally, but I did have to write on the slip as well during, for library. Anytime I checked books out for research and stuff like that, it all still had.
I just remember like in school, do you remember textbooks that were used in school, and like they were like issue date, return date, but it'd be like suck my dick, and like all this like bad words.
You'd get the textbook
SpongeBob,
at the beginning, and you're like, oh, good.
Yeah,
this is what this says. And then it was always fun though whenever people did write their names, and it was like a friend of yours that was older.
Oh, that's true.
And then you got it, and you're like, oh, I got your book.
Someone had this. Yeah. I remember that feeling too.
It was always really fun. It's just like a tragic book that you don't really want not tragic, but you're like,
textbooks. Oh Lord,
I'm not reading my biology textbook for fun. Actually, sometimes it was kind of interesting. Anyways, but now she's going back to her dorm.
Yeah, she is.
And
at the same time, we do see that Tosh is messaging someone on the messenger on the computer, trying to find someone to hook up with.
It's goths only instead of farmers only. It's goths only.
It is. And she does talk to someone, and they're like playing flirty vibes with each other. And she's like, where are you? Let me come to your room. And as she slips out to go freshen up in the restroom, she obviously leaves her door open. So when she comes back into the room, and she had left the question on like, what room are you in? The person messaged back, and it was like yours. And the way that this person had the time to be at their computer, because it's not like texting, it's not like, and then they had to run across to this place and then get in there and hide in the closet or be behind them, at some point.
I wonder if maybe they were logged into like a friend's computer
and then just walked out.
I'm also just really shocked by Brenda's brute strength.
That brute strength.
It's kind of reminding me of Friday the 13th with Mrs. Voorhees.
Oh, that's right. Like, and how was she able to manhandle the man and kill all these people?
But then also, is that wrong on us for just stereotyping like a woman? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I know plenty of strong women. Also, I'm pretty sure I could beat someone
to death.
Yeah, but plenty of people I've dated in the past, when people have said like who would win in a fight between, like a fist fight between the two of us, multiple times I have been picked to win. And I fully believe that I actually probably would beat the shit out of some people. I was scrappy though.
Yeah. Maybe, we can give her the strength. Sure, she can be really strong. But for me, a lot of the times in this movie,
she was very petite.
There was just like, she was everywhere. All at once.
I thought that there was possibly a second person.
Yeah, because it was too fast.
Especially in the not bathtub, the swimming scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever the other girl popped up.
Yeah,
I thought,
the only thing that I can think of is Brenda told a friend, was like, hey, can you come in and wear this and meet me at this time? Don't ask any questions. I'll give you $20. Or like I'm playing a joke on someone. Yeah. Like, and the other person totally thinking like, oh, this is innocent. Yeah, sure. I'll do it. I'll help you out.
Wear a coat. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But then also like, how did she know that Natalie would be in there? How would she know that Natalie would have been looking for her? Or like, how, like I just, there's
she
so
did
many
it every day until Natalie was in there.
Like, there's so
every
many
20
things.
minutes. Hey, walk in like clockwork.
Do it. So like, I don't know. There's a lot of like elaborate setups at certain points that I'm just like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
How is this? But anyways.
There were a lot of points where I thought, before I like kind of settled on Brenda as the killer and then flip-flop back to Paul.
Oh.
I thought maybe Paul and Brenda weren't in it together.
I can see that.
But then Paul was also giving like unhealthily obsessed with Natalie. There are a few moments where I was like, and I thought I had one point written in my notes. I'd said, oh, what if this guy was Paul's older brother?
Oh, that could have been the case as well.
Yeah.
They could have written this story in many different ways.
Yeah. Very easily.
Yeah.
But then whenever I had a feeling the moment we figured out about this game that she played, I was like, whoever the killer is related to that guy.
To the person that died.
And then so whenever Brenda was like, that was my boyfriend, I was like, here it is. Okay, that makes sense. So that part was very clear. But,
and why those people were dying.
Yes.
And why Natalie was being targeted along with all her loved ones, quote unquote.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's whenever we do have her walking in. Natalie ends up walking into her room. But because she's used to Miss Tosh having sex and like not wanting to be disturbed, she doesn't turn on the lights.
Yeah.
And Tosh is being murdered right there next to her, like getting strangled to death.
But of course, her mouth
she's
is
moaning
muffled.
and making noises, but it sounds like sex noises. And so just really like hardcore sex. And so that's whenever
which clearly she was into.
Yeah. And so
which I honestly was at first a little bit surprised that Tosh was immediately freaked out.
Oh,
that she wasn't like, oh, okay, this is kinky.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess they were like super aggressive from the start.
Through her.
Yeah.
But Natalie ends up putting on her headphones, listening to pop music, and then falls asleep. So we have her waking up the next day to her looking over at Toph's bed. She sees blood dripping. She sees a hand sticking out that has the wrist slit with blood on it. And so, of course, she's like, what the fuck? So she goes to pull the blanket off, and we just have Toph's body laying there. And it looks like a suicide.
It does,
It's staged.
But then she looks to the wall behind her, and in blood it says, aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?
Yeah.
Which, I suppose she could have cut herself in a mild manner that wasn't. But like when you
and then wrote on there and then did all that, but it seems pretty elaborate for someone who's killing themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and because then the dean was like just a very tragic suicide note.
Yeah,
or elaborate suicide note, and it's just like no. This realistically doesn't make a lot of sense unless she again very like shallowly cut herself enough, but that was to write with blood that thick of letters. There has to be a lot of blood, and so most of the time you can't do that to yourself.
No,
and if you're losing that much blood, she had to get on a ladder. It was like above their bookshelves. So all of that ultimately from a like logical standpoint, it just doesn't give that. And but of course
the dean and Reese are really also trying not to. They're trying to really like take the focus away from it all and make it not seem like it is murders happening. Of course, the dean doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want there to be a scandal, you know?
Yeah. As we've found out, they've already tried to cover up a certain murder. And then especially after Michelle's death, it very much gave that they were trying to cover up murders. So the moment that he was like, take all these papers down, it's your slanderous words that are causing all this.
Yeah.
I believed that they 1000% would cover up something like the Stanley Hall massacre.
Oh, for sure.
That happened. And so I don't know, whenever he was saying this, it felt like gaslighting. He was just like,
oh yeah, he was making her like think that she's crazy or she's making it up. She's turning this into a way bigger deal than it should be.
Which I was like, I don't know, maybe if someone was murdered or like, suicide or if regardless if you think it is a potential suicide, like investigate it a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
It felt like
most
everyone
definitely.
was like, I wonder if there was some like checks written under the table, like write this off.
Maybe.
I don't know.
There's a lot of details that could go into it behind the scenes, but essentially too, I mean, for his job's sake, I'm sure like it wouldn't look good if anything happened while he was watching or while he was there.
Oh,
like
definitely.
his main purpose is to make sure that the school is functioning
and safe
and making money.
Yeah. And you're not going to make money when people are dying at your school.
Yeah.
But now Natalie has a connection to all 3 murders.
Yeah.
Because while no one really knows that she knew Michelle, she was there when, we know. And then she was there when Damon was allegedly killed. No one, of course, believes her at this point.
Yeah.
But she was there. And then now her roommate was killed. It's not really looking good for Natalie.
No, it's not.
It's making
her look really suspicious. And also, if not, it's like someone is obviously targeting people around her.
Yeah.
And so we do have her talking to Paul as he's like wanting to get an interview from her,
which was
because
I was like, come on, boy, not the time.
Well, his what's it called? Journalistic instincts were taking over. He found, or someone slipped him. I forget how he got the paper.
Yeah, he had called the high school.
That's right.
Michelle's high school. And he goes, well, your high school. And found out that they were close friends.
Yeah. And so he's just kind of grilling her on like, why didn't you tell us that you knew her? And she is basically saying, well, because
I don't owe you any information.
Yeah. And I knew you would be just, glorifying her murder and like trying to get questions and answers from me and stuff like that. And
just to perpetuate to further your own like career advancement
off of her back, like her murder. Yeah.
You are, fuck, what's the word? There's a word for this.
I can't think of it, but I get what you mean. Yeah. He's piggytailing.
He's basically like monetizing a tragic event.
Yeah,
even though it's not. There's no money involved in this, but
he's
word
gaining.
That I can't think of.
He's gaining out of it.
Yeah.
And so he tells her, well, like, you know what? Let's just go talk off the record. So they end up going to the I guess the place where he writes his paper, the classroom, I don't know.
The journalist
room, yeah. And so that's when they're talking. She's telling him everything about the urban legend shit and how she feels the murders are connected. And he is still not believing her, essentially.
Yeah, he kind of made a face, and I was like, oh, he made that face because he just got figured out so fast.
Yeah, right?
It wasn't him.
And so then we have him saying like, okay, well, let's do some digging. They go looking for...
And they're realizing that the Stanley Hall Massacre Bash is like tomorrow.
Yeah, and it was 25 years.
The 25th anniversary. Yeah. And so, they're going to look
at the yearbook.
See that the 73, the yearbook for 73
it's been
is
taken.
missing. They've got 72, 74, 75, but 73, which would have been the 25th prior, was missing. And of course, Token Janitor rolls along, and he's like...
He's everywhere.
Yeah, he is. And so he also gives, I feel like he's supposed to be a little red herring, but I don't know. He gave very innocent vibes to me until she did get in the car with him and that parka was there. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, did I have it completely wrong?
Right.
I trusted him and now he's bad.
But I know that was such a red herring as well, because like, how is everybody, that's a very specific jacket.
It is. Yeah. But again, Hollister Abercrombie. Yeah. All of the models wore that with their little low cut jeans on the beach, wearing that with no shirt.
But this is 98.
They still wore them then.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
The inception. But I don't know. It was just so specific. I'm just like, there's no way this homeboy has the same.
It's like, it is exactly like I Know What You Did Last Summer with the slicker.
Oh, that's right.
At one point they mentioned the weather's going to be bad and they're like, better grab your slicker. And I was like,
but I feel like a slicker is more like, it's generic. Everybody has a slicker. That's I feel true. Like the fur, I don't know.
I feel like those jackets, well, in the early 2000s were very prominent. Like, and then even honestly until a few years back, even like my store was selling jackets that had that same fur trim.
Fur, yeah.
And it was an anorak coat, just like that one was. And so it was very same vibes. Of course, it wasn't like a navy blue.
Skill pad. But yeah, we have Weird Janitor showing up, and they're asking him like, hey, would you know information about what happened back in 73? And he's like, talk to Wexler. So they end up trying to go to Wexler's office. They go to his office, and there's like a secret door that they find that leads to a room.
Yeah, it's like in his bookshelf, which was fucking cool.
And I know, I love those type of rooms, a hidden room. And so they end up finding like a bunch of like an axe. They find the hooded jacket. They find all these things that make it look like it's tied to Wexler.
Very much him.
Yeah, but Wexler walks in, so they end up closing the door. They're hiding in there. They think he walks out, but once they walk out, they get caught by him.
And he's just so creepily hiding behind the door, like ready to get them.
He was, which
again makes him look very suspicious.
It does, but he ends up. But if it was going to be him, he would have killed them. But he ends up taking them to the dean, and the dean's, just being like, you broke in to a professor's office and you have the nerve then to accuse him of murder.
Yeah.
And the dean is just trying to explain that like all of those things are just props for his class.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, yes, but you are kind of creepy.
You are.
Professor Wexler. Like your face is like, I don't know. You give
murderous vibes.
You give murderous vibes. Yeah. You've already murdered high school students. Now you've just moved on to the university and in real life, not in dreams.
Ooh. And so they end up then the dean ends up bringing up Miss Natalie's past because he had to look at her file, and he brings up how she was charged with reckless endangerment and driving and stuff,
and was on probation.
All these things. And so
at this point I was like, oh, this is how her and Michelle fell out of touch.
Yeah. And then he brought up what's his face?
Paul's been fired. And he was like, read the rule book, basically. Like, you can't fire me. Yeah. He was like, I didn't, your editor did.
An hour ago I got off with the phone from him.
Which seems like, low-key, you still fired him. You just like forced the editor into firing him, but whatever.
Otherwise you would have fired the editor.
Yeah.
But yeah, they end up then splitting ways because that's whenever she goes to see Brenda. But whenever she goes to visit Brenda, who's swimming in the pool, I guess she's on the swim team, we have
she's convenient, like she's of course up top, like watching from the I don't know, top room, like I guess maybe judges sit up there during like contests. I have no clue
to
how
watch,
swimming
to
works.
Score. I don't either.
I don't even know how to actually
Or it's
swim.
just like a viewing room, but that's whenever it seems like, like in hospitals, operating rooms, how they have a viewers.
Yeah. Learning purposes. Who knows? Maybe it's like a little. Maybe it's a little like where they can just, get their snacks.
An observation deck,
and watch.
But yeah, so we end up we think that Brenda's about to die because someone walks in who has this like the same jacket that the killer wears, and even Natalie thinks she's gonna die, and she's like trying to break the glass, and she's like breaking the glass a little bit with the chair that she throws. But then
because she's also conveniently locked in.
Yeah,
all of the doors have locked behind her,
and so she does end up then we see that it's not the killer, it's just another swim team member, I guess, about to come for a swim,
which was like, no, it was the weirdest way possible to walk in, to
cover up.
And to just walk into a pool like that. No one typically walks into a building with their hood still up. Most of the time, like if
you take it off,
I'm ever running to my car in the rain, or I'm sorry, running from my car in the rain, and I have my hood up, like the moment I get inside, I pull the hood down.
Yeah, for sure. You don't just keep it on.
Yeah, because it's fucking creepy if you do.
You do. And so we do have her then get Miss Brenda's like talking to her, I guess, because she's like, what's going on? Like, you seem bugging. And Natalie ends up confessing and telling her what happened between Michelle and her. And we had them playing the high beam game, which was pretty much more Michelle's idea, but
and it's a
Natalie
fucking
never
shit joke to play. Honestly.
And Natalie feels really guilty because she knew it was wrong and she never stopped it. She allowed it to happen, and they ended up killing someone essentially. And they got off with like, the judge was really lenient on them and just gave them probation.
Probably because they're pretty white girls.
Yeah. Like they should have been charged with like reckless manslaughter.
Yeah, they should have been charged with murder. Yeah. They murdered this man. Like 1000%. Because they ran him off the road by terrifying
because she was speeding behind him.
Yeah, I would, and constantly flashing the high beams. Like I've had, like that one time I had the cop do that behind me. It's fucking scary.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like anytime someone flashes their high beams in my I'm just so paranoid. I get so scared.
You're so paranoid
all the time. I just think everyone's trying to kill me. Which is why I'm gonna survive.
You are,
because You're ready to
high alert.
Kill anyone.
High alert.
That's right.
And so everybody beware. But that's whenever we do have you get the realization that they killed this man. And even Brenda's like, oh my God, that's horrible for everybody.
Yeah.
And then we have cutting to Paul. He's in his office again, I guess. And we see that the janitor left a paper.
And we've gotten that they were going to go to the party.
Oh, and
sorry. And I was
like,
girl, maybe don't go to that party. That seems like actually a really bad idea, but whatever.
And so we do see that Paul has a paper from like 1973 that's explaining the massacre that happened, that has Wexler as the sole survivor. And so we even see Paul and the janitor share like a quick look.
And the janitor's like, boop, boop, boop.
Walks
I can't
away.
whistle, but
and then
I imagine he whistled.
Trying to act casual. And then we do also see that Reese scares the dean in the parking garage as he's trying to leave.
Yeah.
She's talking to him. She's kind of, essentially saying, maybe we should get some extra, help for the weekend since all these things are happening, just to be safe. And he's just essentially dismissing it.
Yeah, I can't locate another kid. Another kid is potentially missing. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm sorry, the way his inflection when he said, it's the weekend. And I was like, what? Yeah. The way he said weekend was so bizarre to me. And I didn't like it.
Yeah. It's jarring.
It was his inflection, because normally the emphasis is on week. It's like weekend.
Yeah.
But he was like, weekend.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's probably just the way he said it. And
it
had nothing to do with the movie, but I didn't like it.
And so he's essentially telling her it's the weekend, kids are gone for the weekends, and she should just chill out. He's not going to do anything about it. He already called the cops and told them, like,
expect prank calls kind of thing. Like,
nobody's going to come and help, essentially. And he's also leaving.
Yeah.
Ugh. So,
which of course,
he's
leaving all of this in one person's hand.
And then
Reese.
She even, as he turns around and he's like dismissing her, she's like mouths asshole.
Yeah. And I was like, that's right.
But as soon as she walks away, it's pretty fast. The killer pops out underneath his car and slices his heels, his Achilles heels. Yeah. And ends up falling over, and like you can tell that's painful.
They run him over, and then whenever they included the tire spikes.
Yeah, I was just thinking he was gonna get like ran over like really nice and slow.
Yeah,
but then it just ended up having him crawl over those spikes and getting stabbed. That was pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good kill. A lot of this movie had good kills, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, all of them were good and like believable. There wasn't anything like I was talking to my mom about Final Destination because she went and watched it.
Oh yeah,
afterwards, and she was like, honestly, the teacher's kill was a little like that wouldn't happen. And I was like,
oh yeah.
I was like, it was very over the top, but it was fun to watch. But yes, it was very campy, and it wouldn't actually happen.
Yeah, so we have the dean getting murdered, and that all happens. It's pretty gruesome. He is dead. He's taken out. And after that, we transition to the party, and everybody is, like we said, chanting Hootie, and they are, what's it called? Funneling beer into the dog?
Almost like a keg stand, kind of. But yeah, they're, poor dog.
Beer in the funnel, and the dog's taking it. And everybody's cheering them on. We have them, it's basically a frat boy party, so we just have like people like all dressed up. There's a few boys in drag, and they're all just like getting trashed, I'm sure. And that's whenever we do have
Paul, have Roller Coaster playing, and it made me think of Final Destination 3.
Oh, that's true,
because that's during the tanning bed scene.
And we do have Paul, I think, coming to the party, right, to talk to Natalie about Wexler. And he ends up kissing her, and Brenda sees this, and she gets really upset. Yep. And she's just like, "Well, wow, Brenda, you move fast, don't you?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have her leaving. She ends up going outside and sitting and crying, and that's the last time we see Brenda for a little bit. So essentially, it seems like she's kind of like, it kind of gives.
I thought maybe she was gonna die here.
Yeah, I thought like at this point, well, maybe it's not her because she's.
Seems like actually upset.
Yeah. And sad. And then that's whenever we do have back to Paul and what's her face, Natalie. They're trying to figure out what to do, right? And that's whenever
Reese is going.
Reese, that's right.
Yeah, Reese is going and she's exploring that hall. Basically, she runs into the janitor. Basically, the janitor is like, boop.
He's everywhere. Yeah,
that was so funny. But then she goes into Wexler's office and it's trash.
Yeah, which as the janitor, how did you know? Anyways, yeah, I don't know. She was working with the janitor.
Maybe he was just cleaning
the hallways. She was working with the janitor.
Yeah. We'll go back
Brenda
to him being bad.
Right?
Yeah, maybe. Possible.
There's too much stuff happening, and Brenda was at the party.
But none of the kills happened at the party because Brenda leaves. I mean, we don't see what happens after she starts crying. And the next death doesn't happen. She could have killed him before the party.
That's true. And that's whenever Reese
and honestly, she
found him.
probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Reese goes in there. She's looking around. She does see that she opens up that secret room and we see that the axe is not there anymore.
Yep. It's gone.
Yep. And as she's walking back, she slips in blood. Mm-hmm. It's obviously the Wexlers, but there's no body there.
And I was like, it could be the janitor. I at this point wrote like, it could be the janitor. And he gave them Wexler's name to throw them in the wrong direction.
That, yeah.
But
and she ends up then trying to call it in. She's trying to call someone. She's trying to call the cops, no?
Yeah, but no one's going to fucking believe her.
Nobody's coming.
I think that is a little bit later, but yeah, she does do that. But then we flash back to Parker basically being an ass because
Paul's trying to tell him like, hey, we should cut the party early because there's a murder on the loose.
Yeah, like we shouldn't be doing this. Like this isn't safe. People are dying.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, you can tell everyone why you think they should go home. And of course, everyone, is drunk and they're at a party. They're not going to listen to somebody telling them to go
and Paul doesn't even say it. It's Parker saying it all.
Yeah.
In like a mocking tone.
And at this point I was like, Parker's going to be next. Paul's going to kill him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Because it's like, not. Or is it Paul? Is it Paul killing everybody? Because that's whenever Parker's like, this would be really convenient for your newspaper if everybody starts dying and you're doing this.
You get a big break.
Headlines, for your career. Sasha leaves. She's going to the radio station. That's whenever we do have Parker getting a phone call.
And it's going to die tonight.
Yeah, it is. And he thinks that it's Damon because it's coming from Damon's caller ID. Mm-hmm. And so that's whenever we have him saying something to like the person on the phone, but the person's like, no, it's
he was
your
like,
dog.
I know this one.
Yeah.
He was like, I know this one. The call's coming from inside the house. It's the babysitter upstairs. And it says
wrong urban legend.
Wrong legend. Yeah.
This is the one about the
old lady who dries her wet dog in the microwave.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard that one.
I haven't.
I've heard about guinea pigs getting like blown up in microwaves.
I've heard of a dog being blown up in a microwave. I didn't know it was because of an old lady trying to dry her wet dog in there. That'd be a really dumb idea.
Jesus.
Then there's also a really sad thing that happened in my actual hometown.
Wasn't it urban legend?
No, it was a child.
Oh no! Did a baby get put in it?
Yeah.
They cooked a baby, and like it died. I'm assuming.
Yeah. That's
crazy. Wait, does it explode? No. How did it get put in there? Like it was murdered. Like this was murdered.
Yeah. And it was at the same time as like a big event happened at my house.
Yeah.
That was a wild, life-changing thing. They were like both in the news.
Oh no.
But obviously the child being blown up in the microwave kind of eclipsed what happened at my house. But what happened? That's so terrible. Never mind. We're not going to go into it.
Yeah.
But
that's great. That's wild.
Yeah. So people have done shit like that because this wasn't an urban legend. I know for a fact this baby got exploded in a microwave. Really sad. Anyways.
I don't think I can talk anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad.
That's so dark.
It is.
Okay. So
but it was so sad. Poor Hootie.
The dog. The Hootie's got dead. He's blown.
Nose pierced. Beer funneled into him and then exploded in a microwave.
Yeah,
he's
poor
just
guy.
a sweet little Bichon Frise.
And that's whenever we do have Parker's losing his shit.
Rightly so.
He goes to the restroom, and that's whenever we have him getting attacked.
Yeah, he's getting like a royal flush. Isn't that what it's called when you put their head into the a swirly?
A swirly. Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I think maybe royal flush as well. But he's getting a swirly, and then he ends up getting pulled back, pop rocks down the throat, and then funneled with Drano. Yeah. Ugh. So he's dying. Yeah.
That was I don't know why, but it reminded me of Midsummer even though I know that was carbon monoxide, but that like kind of the way that he foamed and everything, it reminded me of that.
Gotcha. So
murder at the beginning of Midsommar.
Parker's out. Parker's dead.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm just like, everything's moving so fast, because we do have this scene happening here with Parker, but then we have Miss Natalie and everyone's at the party and stuff, and she's sitting on the couch. There's Sasha on the radio, but we hear that the killer's now at the radio station, because we can see him.
Her sound guy getting murdered.
And then behind, the lights get turned off behind her. She ends up looking behind into the window into the other room, and the killer is there. So I'm just like, damn, Brenda's fast.
She really is. She really is.
Because I'm just saying.
I mean, of course, we don't really know how much time has happened between then.
And it is a campus. Like, everything is all essentially kind of close to, like, within 10 minutes from itself.
Yeah, like Baylor, you can get from one side of the campus to the other in like 10 to 15 minutes walking.
Yeah.
So like riding a bike or driving or running could be much more. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. But yeah, then she's there, and and Sasha has like a Britney Spears microphone headset on. So of course we're getting like a live play of her murder getting chased. Happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because she's getting chased for quite a while. It gives enough time for Natalie to show up and arrive just in time for Sasha to get fucking chopped by the axe.
And whenever Sasha was sitting there hanging from that, this part, I don't know if there's another horror film where something very similar happened, or if I've seen a clip of this exact part. But this part, I had like deja vu while watching it. I remembered
Urban legend is included like in some of the scary movie stuff that they redo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it might have been in there. Probably. Just like I got Scream confused. But whenever she was hanging over the edge like that, I was like, girl, I don't think you'll die from that
if you
fall.
just let go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also don't. That was like a third story though.
Yeah. And I had a friend who passed away.
From falling?
Off a third story.
That sucks.
It wasn't immediate. But it was like the next
It's like
day.
a head damage thing. Yeah, because depending on you fall. I mean, yeah.
And
but even if falling, she could have broken a bone or something.
And she was in boots like my size right now that I have on.
She could have broken
4-inch platform heels.
A bone or something. So then essentially she's dead anyways because she can't run away.
Yeah.
So she ends up falling, thankfully, into like the next set of stairs, runs back, trying to get back to the studio. And she does make it, narrowly missing, getting like chopped in the head.
Know why she goes back up to this.
Yeah.
When she gets on the elevator.
Oh, that part as
goes up. Which I was like, most elevators tell you what floor it's at.
Yeah.
Even back then, they tell you what floor the elevator is at.
Yeah.
So you know like which one to go to. Because there's typically multiple elevators. And you know how long you like need to wait. And so I was like, girl, the person's going to know exactly where you're going.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the first place that I would look. If I was looking for you, I would look in the studio again.
Yeah.
Like, don't go back to the studio.
It's a lot of dumb blonde moves being pulled. But Sasha ends up getting killed, and Natalie is watching it happen. Yeah. And we do get a wave from the killer, kind of toying with Natalie as well.
And at that point, too, that wave...
everybody was hearing her getting murdered, even Reese on the radio station. So Reese knows kind of what's happening, so she ends up driving to the radio station. So that's when we know she's on the way there.
Her. Yeah. That wave felt very... At that point, too, that wave in particular kind of solidified Brenda in my mind.
Oh, okay.
It was a very like feminine wave. Yeah. Almost like princess wave, like from a vehicle.
I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very taunting wave.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it felt more feminine to me than masculine.
And so we do have Sasha dying, like we said. And it seems like at this point, Paul comes up at just the right moment because they're back at the dorms or something like that.
Yeah. And he's shaking real bad.
Yeah.
Like can barely even get the keys in the door, which I was like, ooh, he is really shaky. Like it could be him because he's got that adrenaline of just axing someone.
And she's asking him, like, where you been? And he's saying, like, how he's been going around all campus looking for help, trying to get the dean, trying to get Reese, but he can't find anybody. And so he's just telling her, like, we're going to get out of here. We are leaving. And she's still like being...
And he says the phone line's dead.
And she's suspicious of him. So she checks the phone line herself. And he's like, wait a minute, I just told you it was dead. And she's just like, I'm just making sure. And so he's already like trying to tell her like, look, I'm on your side.
But the way he did it was creepy.
Yeah, it was.
Because he like reached for her face. And it's such a very classic horror trope where the person's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm on your side. This is all for you. I'm doing all of this for you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It gave this unhealthy obsession with her where he was taking out anyone who like even remotely kind of wronged her kind of thing.
I can see that. Yeah.
And then because everyone who's died thus far has been someone who's
kind of been a dick to her.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
that's true. I never put that together as well. And so we do have them leaving. They bump into Sasha. Not Sasha, Brenda, which is pretty convenient. And you're like, where the fuck has Brenda been this whole time?
Yeah.
But then they're like, telling her and filling her in on what's happening. So they all try to leave. Reese is trying to call the dean. But he ain't fucking picking up, I think. And I think at this point,
we know he's dead.
Yeah, true. And then the gang ends up going to the gas station.
And while they're driving, they're like, what is that smell?
Yeah.
In his car. They're like, something really stinks. And he was like, what are you talking about? It doesn't smell.
Yeah.
And again, putting Paul kind of like, he's trying to put it under the rug.
Well, and it was Brenda saying that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like already setting it up because she's trying to frame him. And so we do have him going inside to call for help. They end up hearing after Brenda apologizes and is just like, I'm sorry, y'all should really be together if you want to be with him, which was really weird already.
Which was weird, yeah.
It's too quick of a 180.
Because then she gave her like a hug and I was like, is this a time for like an emotional, this isn't. No. Like this is weird. It feels very forced because it was. She was doing this on purpose.
She's playing two-timing her because then we do hear, which we heard earlier in the film, Wexler's like
watch alarm go off.
An alarm going off. And it ended up being like the sounds coming from the trunk. So they go outside, they lift up the trunk, and obviously Wexler's in there. They're freaking out because this is Paul's car.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it really makes it seem like Paul. And so even Brenda, like in the car, was like, he's all yours. And then she's even says, like, they're outside, she's like I said, he is all yours.
Yep.
Yeah. And so.
And then they start running. And of course they run right into the woods, which was like, oh, good.
Why?
Does anyone ever run into the woods?
It's a musical.
That's woods.
And so they end up going in there. They're like, where are we running to? We're running back to campus. And so they're running. Paul is chasing after them. Brenda ends up falling. Miss Natalie has no fucking clue.
I was like, damn, she really said bye, Brenda.
Yeah.
Like she just kept going. And then whenever she does stop, and she's like, Brenda. And I was like, bitch, she fell a while back. Like, where the fuck have you been?
And then we just hear Brenda screaming.
Yeah.
Like literally. And then we have Paul screaming only screaming for Natalie, honestly.
Yeah.
He never calls out Brenda's name.
He don't give two shits about Brenda.
He
and
really
that's pretty
doesn't.
clear. Every time Brenda tries to talk to him,
she doesn't like him.
He's like,
he doesn't like her. My bad.
Okay. I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then of course, when Natalie breaks through the woods, gets back to a road, she hails a car.
And it's a fucking janitor. Why is it always him? He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Where is he going?
Well, he was probably leaving the school to go home.
Maybe, I don't know. But he ends up giving her a ride, a lift. She thinks he's acting a little creepy. But
I think he's just a fucking awkward human being.
Yeah, and we do see that he has that coat.
He's like, if you're cold, you can put on this coat. I have a coat right there. And she was like,
yeah.
And he was like,
out.
Let me out. And he was like, the door won't open from the inside, which really made him look creepy. And then she's like freaking out.
Because the way he delivered that line.
And then tries to grab her to like calm down.
Yeah, and he's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. It was creepy. But I think he was just trying to be like, yo, calm down. But I think he just was so socially awkward. He couldn't deliver it correctly.
And it's so funny, though, how fast she goes from thinking he's the killer to, oh, no, there's the actual killer coming.
Yeah.
And she's like now leaning into it, like, needing his help driving to get away. So it's like, bitch, you were just like probably accusing him in your mind.
And then now he's your savior.
She's you.
Yep.
She's you. Everyone's a killer. She's paranoid.
Yeah, for real.
And so then we have her telling him not to like engage with the person who's high beaming, but then they turn around and they start getting chased and they literally literally get driven off the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They chase him off the road. And I did like this kind of big finale-esque murder or what you think would be the big finale was kind of coming full circle.
Yeah.
Back with the high beam situation happening again and what Natalie had originally done.
Yeah.
And now that it's happening to them.
And it was happening to her,
although a much more aggressive version, because this time the car was driving up to the side of them and like hitting them, trying to quite literally knock them off the road rather than the car just losing control.
And they end up like crashing. It seems like he's pretty much dead at this point. Or if anything, he's really banged up and bleeding out.
He's definitely out cold. Yeah. And then she says, bye yet again.
Yeah. She leaves him. She runs out of the truck that they were in. And then we do cut to Reese getting
breaking
her gun.
Breaking out the big guns for real. Not her tiny little one. She's got her big one.
Yep. And then we have Brenda screaming for help from that building that they were screaming Bloody Mary to earlier.
And at first, I was like, what if it's just a voice recorder, though? Because her first two screams, somebody help me. Ah, somebody help me. Ah, it sounded the same. And I thought that maybe it was just a recording.
On loop. Yeah.
But then it did change. But immediately I was like, don't go in there.
Yeah, no, for
don't
sure.
Go in there. Something's
but of
wrong.
course she's going to go in there. So she ends up going in there because she still thinks that she doesn't think that Brenda's the killer. So
yeah, she thinks it's Paul.
Yeah, and so she ends up going in there. She ends up trying to find Brenda, but she ends up running into Parker's body.
Yep.
And then she ends up, it's very like the Michael Myers, the first Halloween.
I put how very Halloween in presentation because we get Parker, then she finds the dean underneath the next sheet, and then she opens the door, finds Damon hanging there.
And then she has to like go past him.
Yeah, she just ended up like, excuse me.
Yeah. And so she ends up going into another room that has all these candles lit up, and we do see that Brenda's strapped to the bed. And at this point, I'm already thinking like, and Natalie already thinks that Brenda's dead, but I'm just like, she's not dead. She looks like a trap. It looks like she was still breathing.
Strapped to the bed.
Yeah,
she was just laid out on the bed.
Yeah,
her arms weren't tied.
Yeah,
and then that was when I put, whoa, I was right. And then she sits up.
Knocks her out.
Pops her in the face. And I was like, it was Brenda. Oh my God.
It was Brenda all along. And so we do have Brenda. Then like we have Natalie coming out of her unconsciousness, and it like blurs back into like Brenda being there. And she's got this like accent, this Southern accent now.
Yeah.
It's very twangy.
Yeah. And it was very,
excuse me.
I don't know, all of her, it was giving, she clearly looked unhinged.
Oh, yeah.
Her acting was great. I think the writing was bad.
Yeah.
Because some of the writing here was like over the top. And it was like,
it was.
With the twang. Like you're saying, there's some things where she was like, I was just like, okay.
And it gave like Jesse the Kid and like an outlaw, Billy the Kid, like an outlaw and like all that kind of thing. And
she was like, haha, well, I've got a visual aid, sweetie. Or
good
something.
Lord, not the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
The PowerPoint that came up.
I laughed so much. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Okay, let's go.
Because she's like, you haven't connected the dots yet. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's explaining to her essentially like, you and Michelle, that was my boyfriend that you killed.
David Evans was his name, and we were supposed to get married that following summer, but you and your little friend decided to do a prank, and you killed my love of my life.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to kill... She was like, you used an urban legend to kill my boyfriend, and now I'm going to use an urban legend to kill everyone who's close to you.
And basically. Kill you.
Yeah, and to kill you.
Yep.
And she was given pretty good unhinged.
Yeah, no,
and then again, I think it was the writing
crazy girl.
that I think maybe took away from the scene the most. Because they almost went a little too over the top, but she did a great job.
No, she does. She does
portraying what was given to her.
And she ends up just essentially she wants revenge. So she tells Miss Natalie that she's going to do the kidney heist and take her kidney and sell it on the black market.
Isn't there a funny TV show? Is it like Arrested Development or something where someone goes to they go to like a casino and then someone tries to do that?
Oh, really? No, I don't know.
It's like a sitcom. Maybe it's Always Sunny.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't watch either of those shows.
Me neither. But I feel like I've seen a lot of episodes from them. Like, no, I've seen like a whole episode of this, but I don't remember which show it was where they like go to a casino and then this girl does drug their drink and then he wakes up in a tub of ice, basically like ready for someone to steal his kidney, but he gets out and then I don't know. Or it's all a dream I had.
No, it seems like a sketch show kind of like act or something like that.
Yeah. But basically she's going to do that.
Yeah. Take her kidney, sell it on the black market. And so make money off of it.
It was pretty funny when she starts cutting into her. She goes, is this where the kidney is? She was like, I was always such a dope at anatomy. And she goes, oh, well, first organ I see, I'm just going to grab it.
Yeah.
And I was like...
But at this point, Reese comes in with the gun and she says,
oh, rent a cop?
Yeah. Miss Brenda's really sassy.
Yeah.
But Reese comes in with the gun and she's trying to defend what's her face? Natalie.
Yeah, Natalie. She's trying to disarm Brenda.
Exactly.
And save the day.
And it doesn't work though, because as she's just like pinning Miss Brenda, like essentially where the window is, you know, and she's not even doing anything really. Brenda has a knife and she turns around and slashes Reese.
Yeah, because it was like she had one armed, maybe the arm that had the other weapon or something in it. No, because she still had the scalpel.
Not even, no. Yeah. She was just like making
her right
walk.
arm was completely free.
Yeah.
And so she turns around and slashes her. But I was like, oh no, not Reese.
Yeah. She gets slashed. She falls. She ends up losing the gun. And then that's whenever Miss Brenda picks up the gun and she ends up shooting Reese.
Yeah.
And we're like, at that point, I thought Reese was out. But
I did too.
Yeah.
But I had a feeling whenever Brenda started saying eeny, meeny, miny, I was like, I yelled, Mo!
Yeah.
And the cats were like, what? Because I watched this at like 2 a.m. last night, by the way. I couldn't sleep. And so I was like, up.
And you got it down. Yeah.
Did.
And then Paul ends up coming back, but not before, you know, Natalie can say like, you know, I wasn't going to let you take Paul from me. Now he can be mine.
Two men from me.
Yeah. He's going to be mine and all this stuff. But Paul ends up coming out and he's like, you know what? I couldn't have thought of a better plan myself.
He was really flirting her up, trying to talk her down.
Yeah. And
to disarm the situation.
But
which
even
is so smart.
Well, yeah, but even then she's like, you know what, you're cute, but you're not that cute.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's whenever she's like, eeny, meeny, miny, Mo. And then Reese gets up and shoots her. And she's like, Mo. Bitch.
Because she's like, which one of you should I kill first? Eeny.
Yeah.
Meeny. Miny.
And then
Mo.
That's whenever she gets shot. She gets shot another time by Natalie. And she falls out the window.
Shoots her right out the fucking window.
Yeah.
And then at the moment that happened, I was like, she's going to get up. Mm-hmm. I did not for a second believe she was dead there.
Like Halloween, yep. Michael Myers.
I was like, nope, she's not dead.
And so that's whenever we do see that Natalie and Mr. Jared Leto are driving. They're talking as if everything's fine. Like, and then he's like, so if this is an urban legend, where's the twist? And then, of course, she pops out from the back seat and starts like stabbing at them.
Yeah. And they were talking about like how the story's going to change. Like Brenda will become a guy. He'll become the cop. Paul will become the cop. And she said, and I'll end up in an insane asylum, basically. Yeah. And then, I put, again, always check your fucking back seat because she was there.
Yep, just like it started. And they end up having a struggle in the vehicle. Brenda is trying to attack and kill Natalie. And Mr. Paul ends up just like ramming the vehicle on the bridge onto the rail. And Miss Brenda flies through it.
Yeets her out the windshield.
Falling into the river below.
And I'm honestly surprised Natalie wasn't more fucked up from that because of the struggle. Her head was in the floorboard.
Yeah.
Her head was like down low.
Yeah.
And I know that he hit. Ooh, my nail just went somewhere. I know that he hit on the driver's side, but like her head was still in the floorboard. Like that had to have done something more to Natalie.
But it's just not dead though.
Movie magic. Oh, here it is. Found it.
And so that's whenever we pop up to a couch again on a different campus and we have some friends talking about this urban legend of what had happened to them. And it's basically like a cycle. We have
starting over again.
Another legend being talked about. And that's whenever we do have Miss Brenda fucking popping up again. I don't know how she got enrolled to this school. And she's like, no. See, you told it wrong. You're missing a few details.
And she looks older.
She does.
But I was like,
older.
maybe she's a teacher now.
Maybe.
And
it's the end.
And that's the end of the story, which I liked that ending.
Yeah.
Because the moment that she got yeeted into the river, I was like, no, y'all need to check that to make sure that she's actually dead. And like, you need a coroner to confirm this because I don't trust it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they were like, I don't know. They just kind of brush over it and we get to that. And so it was fun to like see, because then you don't know, did she ever successfully kill Natalie and Paul? We have no clue.
We don't.
It leaves you in the dark.
It does.
And then we get the feeling that it's about to happen all over again.
Yeah.
But now, of course, she just must be unhinged because she has no actual motive this time with these kids. Yeah. And I think they said it was a different school for starters. Yeah, it wasn't Pendleton.
It was Carver or Cantor or something like that.
Yeah. And then I think it was on the opposite coast.
Yeah.
I think they said West Coast.
Instead of East Coast.
Or something. Yeah. Or maybe they said Midwestern. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
Because the original one was in Maine, I believe, that's what all the license plates said.
Oh, okay. And what was happening over there with the girls, the ladies?
Yeah. So
Miss Natalie. So this was a listener request. So we did have Nikki give her input of why she loved this movie. She said that she loved Urban Legend because it's a good scary movie that really got her scared. She was about 17 when she saw it for the first time, and it gave her goosebumps, which is a pretty good reason to love a movie.
Yeah.
Always the best movies are the ones that, like, I think even when we were talking the other, was it Final Destination? We were like, you mentioned one movie that like had left you scarred to this day. Was it Final Destination or one that got mentioned?
Oh, I mean, Final Destination. We were talking about that because we still can't drive behind any trucks with
that's
logs.
right. Yeah.
I can't get in a tanning bed.
Tanning bed. Yeah. Tanning bomb. But we do have, she also mentioned Michael Rosenbaum, that she couldn't believe he was in it because she grew up watching him as Lex Luthor in Smallville, which I did watch Smallville too.
I did too. And I didn't even recognize, with hair on his head, I didn't recognize him.
Right? Yeah. She felt bad for his character,
Smallville.
Parker, and how he was murdered and his dog in the microwave, which so you can agree with her. But she gives the movie 5 boos out of 5 boos, and she really recommends it to anyone to watch during the Halloween season. So yeah, thank you, Nikki, for mentioning and for requesting this movie for us to watch.
It was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too.
I would give it a solid 3.5 boos.
That's exactly, I was talking earlier, and 3.5 is where I feel as well.
It's pretty, the story's good. It had some twists where it needed to have twists. I like a good whodunit as well, so I'm always a sucker for a movie like that kind of keeps me guessing on like who it could be.
Yes.
And I liked, like
really
we said,
liked
the
how
urban
much
legend.
I flipped back and forth on who is the killer.
And the urban legend part of it is a pretty cool concept to use.
Because
for
the most part, everyone did grow up on those. And that is something that sticks with you. Like, clearly, I still always check my back seat.
Yeah.
Like, I am always paranoid someone's ready to kill me in my back seat.
It's going to happen one day, but you'll be ready for them. What do you do?
I don't know. Get out of my car.
Like, since you think about it a lot, do you have like a plan in motion?
I have 0 plans.
Okay.
I just always check to make sure.
You should have mace. You have mace, right?
I do have mace in my car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you carry an axe in your car?
Well, I feel like maybe that would make me look bad.
A knife. I'd like hidden away somewhere.
I don't even know if I know how to actually properly wield it to then hurt someone.
Well, you need a plan.
I just get out of my car.
I
see like them. Get out.
Well, I just feel like because now you're manifesting it. If you're looking for someone,
I'm so scared.
If you're looking for it, you might just find someone there one day. Oh no. And so, anyways, we rebuke that, and then Yeah. That's a 3.5 boos from your boos.
Yeah, it was fun. I feel like all the people were well fleshed out too, for the most part.
I like Little Brenda's crazy thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Sasha's like chasing. That was pretty cool.
It was
good too.
It was good.
I liked that whole bit, and then like her being on like live and everybody watching it, listening to it. I mean,
it was cool.
Nowadays it would be like a live TikTok and someone's watching someone getting murdered.
Yeah, it with the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Whenever they went live on the bus, on Instagram,
and they're like, "You're canceled."
And they're like, "This is fake. This is so fake. Oh my god!" And it's like, "Oh no, it's not." But yeah, pretty dumb. It was done well here, though.
Yeah. So thank you, Nikki, as always, for giving us that request. Thank you for listening. And if anyone else has any requests, make sure to DM us.
We have a list we're going through.
We are, yeah. We'll add you to the list.
Exactly. And every other week, remember, we will be covering these. So you'll get our normal episodes that always come out on Tuesday. And then on the 2nd and 4th week of the month, assuming that it lines up correctly, you'll get one on Thursday, and that'll be your listener request.
Yes.
So, yay. We're super fun, super excited to cover this and cover films that y'all have seen and maybe that we haven't. I know you've seen this one, but I hadn't.
It's not like I've seen it a lot. I just like watched it once or two times before.
And I feel like it's very fitting and fits in well with Final Destination.
It does.
Kind of the same time period, same vibes.
Yeah.
Especially with the first one.
Yeah.
Because it was, 2 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to now go cover Final Destination 2, but also scared.
Me too.
Because we're just gonna get we've
paranoid again.
Yeah, been so pent up this week.
But once again, we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
That's right. They always take great care of us.
They do. You can always listen to our podcast or a slew of other podcasts on roguemedianetwork.com, or you can listen to them on, your streaming platforms like
Spotify
and Apple.
But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that is the only way we can get ahead in this world. And then if you would like to reach out to us and let us know your favorite horror films and what you would like for us to cover, you can do so on Instagram, and that is at
Boobaes Podcast, BOOBAES Podcast, because we're your boobaes, not your boobabes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
until next time.
Until next time, you guys.
Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.